How do we normally intro Nuggets and Pearls? We need Chris. He's a Nuggets and Pearls guy.
Welcome to Nugget and Pearls.
Nuggles and Pearls?
Nugget and Pearls.
That's the most country you've sounded in months. All right, welcome to Nuggets and Pearls. We're going to talk about, if you watched episode 177, was that it? 177. We talked about some of the stuff that we have been doing lately in our training, and we got a lot of questions about why we were doing those things. We probably didn't explain exactly why we chose those particular things for ourselves in the moment. So we mentioned pause squats, tempo squats, down sets to add more volume as an example. So I'll turn over to Mike. You know, why would somebody want to use tempo squats in their training? And
that's the hardest
Who's that for? So I'll give it to you.
Tempo squats are awesome for people who...
Now that the train has passed, why would somebody want to use tempo squats in their training? Who are they for and why?
Tempo squats are for everybody all the time, Doug. Mm-hmm. That is not the right answer. Tempo squats are really great for beginners, people who need to get strong in each position on the way down, people who may start falling apart in one part. So they're really focusing on each position on the way down. I mean, every millimeter of movement is a new position, and getting strong at every single point is really, really good. Additionally, if you're not, it's going to limit you from doing as much weight. So if you're somebody that has any joint pain or anything like that, they can be really great just because you're going to do lighter weight and the effort is still going to be really high. I would suggest if you're an athlete, an athlete that it requires explosiveness in your sport, I would use the tempo squats away from competition, months away from competition. As you get closer to competition, I would pull the tempo out and keep it mainly faster squats.
Yeah, for beginners, as Mike said, if you're a person who's brand new and you don't have very good control eccentrically, which means as the bar is moving towards the floor and you're squatting down, if you're one of those people that tends to get kind of halfway down and then you kind of just crash to the bottom and then you try to use the bounce to get out of that position and you don't look very good doing it, then tempo squats are probably a good choice for you. Also for people that don't have very good control, especially if you kind of have like the knee wobble as you are going throughout the movement, then using a tempo where you're taking, since we didn't even explain what the hell that was, a tempo is where you go down slower than normal. So if I...
Kind of.
Yeah. Kind of. So say I selected a tempo of 4 seconds. I'm talking just the down portion here to keep it overly simplified. Say it was 4 seconds on the way down. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm more likely in that case to keep a good knee position in this example and less likely to do any of this where my knees are wobbling in and out. The way tempo is normally programmed, it's how long it takes you to go down, how long you pause, how long it takes you to come up, and then how long you kind of quote unquote rest in between sets. So usually it's written as like 4, 0, X would be explosive, you come up as fast as possible, and then maybe 1, so you rest 1 second at the top, and then you go right back into your next rep as an example. Okay. For someone who's more advanced, you can still do tempo work. If you're a person that, again, you're kind of in the off season and you want to, again, if I talk mostly about the slower eccentric, which tends to be kind of really the main reason people do tempo work, is to slow down that eccentric on purpose. It can cause a little bit of extra soreness. It can help in some cases with building a little bit of extra muscle mass. So you could use it intentionally to get that little bit of extra tissue breakdown to spur a little bit of extra growth, especially if it's something that you haven't done lately and it's kind of a newer thing. As people say, the best program is the program that you aren't doing. So if it's a new thing, then it can help spur a little bit of growth and a little bit of strength gain. But again, if you're an explosive athlete, probably the off season is the best time for that, because as the season approaches, especially if you're a weightlifter, then you're not trying to go down really slow and eliminate the bounce. You're trying to get used to riding the bounce to come out of the hole, especially on a heavy clean in particular.
Yeah, I don't think weightlifters do tempo enough away from competition. I think just throwing it in, a lot of weightlifters would see a huge benefit.
Yeah, for joint health in particular, is probably the number one reason advanced athletes would use this method. That's why I have been doing more tempo work lately. Just my joints have been a little bit achy and beat up from training, not just in the weight room, but in MMA and mixed martial arts, jiu-jitsu and whatnot as well. I'm trying to stay as healthy as possible and eliminate joint pain, so I've been doing more tempo work lately to fix that that little issue that I've been having. I'm not injured necessarily, just achy joints that I kind of want to not become injured. So by doing tempo work, it's been a little bit easier on my joints, especially my knees and my back, and kind of the common weightlifter achy areas, knees, back, and shoulders.
Another style of training would be the pause. Most notable is the pause squat. That's where you pause at the bottom. That could be considered tempo as well, where you're at the bottom of the movement, you're just having that a long amount of time. But most of the time, we just call them pause squats. You may do a 2-second pause at the bottom of the squat or a 10-second pause at the bottom of the squat. But it's really good for really working mobility, like getting, if you want to get a little bit deeper in your squat, that's a great way to do it. It also allows you to put in more effort with lighter weight. Again, I think it's great for reducing joint pain while building more strength in the muscles, and then also postural strength. I know if I do a pause front squat, really the majority of the work is going, I'm getting nice mobility work in my lower body, but my torso, upper back is having to work extra hard because I'm having to support that load for a longer period of time.
Yeah, if you're a person that has more strength during your pull than you do during the squat, as an example, if you're a person that I can pull a clean and then I get to here and I try to stand up and I can't stand up, then you're a person that might be a good candidate to do pause squats. Because if I do a pause front squat, I go down and I pause down here. Come back up to the mic. I pause down in that bottom position.
Our ghetto setup.
So I pause at the bottom position for 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 7 seconds, where I don't get the advantage, the momentum advantage of the bounce, and I can use raw strength only from that bottom position to drive out of the hole, and then I'm much less likely to get stapled by a clean where I catch the weight and I can't stand back up simply because I'm not strong enough. So front squats, and especially pause front squats, are one of the tools you can use to help yourself get out of that bottom position if that's where you happen to be weak.
And if you want to get crazy with the pause squat, I recommend adding some chains on the sides.
Yeah.
Probably not necessary, but I found some big benefits from throwing that in there. What was the last thing we talked about? Oh yeah, down sets, huh?
Down sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a down set, again, if you watched episode 177, we mentioned that our buddy Travis Mash programs a lot of down sets. Mike and myself happen to love down sets as well, and I've been doing a lot of down sets myself lately. Basically what that means is that I build up to a rep max, say it's a 2-rep max, and then I take off a certain percentage and I do more volume with that lighter weight. So maybe I build up to a 2-rep max and I get to 300 pounds. If I take off 10%, that's 30 pounds, so I'm down to 270 pounds, and then maybe I do 4 more sets of doubles at that lighter weight, where I'm probably not likely to actually hit failure, but it's still pretty dang heavy, and I can get a lot of volume without beating myself up too bad, because I'm not actually approaching failure and I'm not actually at my heaviest weight, but I'm still accelerating the bar as absolutely fast as possible, and I'm still likely to get a pretty good strength benefit from the weight that I am using for that set rep protocol.
Yeah, I really like it because you get to go after that max effort. You hit that max effort, and then you back it down to I like to back it down like 5%, and then do some more at the same amount of reps at 5% less. And usually, like, the second set feels sometimes even worse than the last set. It's just as much of a struggle. So it's like the same amount of effort. You find you have that max effort there, and then you have like another max effort, and then you back it off a little bit more, and you have another max effort. So it's really psychologically challenging, and it kind of makes it easier to max out more often, because every day you're coming in and maxing out on maybe 2 or 3 exercises, hit that rep max, back it off, and it allows you to work in that max effort and a lot of volume at the same time.
I in particular like them for people that just, for whatever reason, just simply don't train heavy enough. That's often not a problem with highly advanced national caliber competitive athletes, as an example. Like they probably always want to go extra heavy, and that's not their problem. But a lot of times beginners, especially people that they might be at a CrossFit gym, they might have just started doing CrossFit 6 months ago or a year ago, and they're still not really in tune with what like a real 8-rep max is supposed to look like on a heavy back squat. you'll say do 3 sets of 8, and then you'll watch them. I've done this before. I've said, wait a minute, on the next set, just do as many as you can, and they'll do like 17, right? And I'm like, whoa, okay, this is not what we're doing. I just assume that it means, when I say 3 sets of 8, that you're approaching an 8 rep max. You're not just doing 8 reps and then stopping just because it got kind of hard. So in that case, it's nice to build up to something like a 5 rep max, a real 5 rep max, and then in that case, taking off 20% and doing 3 sets of as many reps as possible with that weight. It's going to be pretty heavy, and they're going to go to failure with that model, and it happens very easily if you structure it like that. So with beginners, I like to use that type of protocol, and they tend to respond very, very well to it.
It's very motivating. People want to hit a new rep max every time they lift. So
yeah, you got to max out every day. That's something that maybe is a little bit different than last time. So rep max, take off some weight, do as many reps as possible, or if you hit a 5 rep max, you could stick with doing 3 to 5 sets of 5, taking off 10%, maybe 20%, depending on what you're trying to work up towards. If you want to see how we program these types of movements in our workouts and in the workouts of our clients, you can go to muscle.barbellshrugged.com. We have a How to Get Strong Now guide. It's a free ebook, and it has 2 weeks worth of programming in there as an example, so you can see how we program tempo squats, pause squats, and down sets, which we use quite a bit. So go to muscle.barbellshrugged.com and you can see exactly how we use these types of movements in our workouts. This is it for Nuggets and Pearls. We'll see you another day.
Join the conversation every week after the episode over at barbellshrugged.com. This is also where you'll find new episodes of Barbell Shrugged, Technique Wad, Nuggets and Pearls, Barbell Business, Get Change, plus new articles every day on our daily blog, written by us, guests of the show, and some of the biggest names in strength and conditioning. So, go there and leave a comment now.
Oh my gosh, wow, that's so cool. Yay, that's so awesome.
Did you like this video? If so, subscribe to our channel and share this with your friends.
And if you want even more free, awesome resources to help you reach your fitness goals, plus some updates that we only share over email, head over to barbellshrugged.com and sign up for the newsletter.